Love being right. Oh, do I love being right. Also in this episode, lame excuses why I'm not doing so many episodes. I don't know what to tell you. Stuff's happening. Don't even know what episode this is, actually. It's 80-something, Coast to Coast Pinball. Let's go. Welcome to Coast to Coast Pinball. My name is Nate Shivers. This is a podcast. The commentary, and I'm a man out of quarters, episode 89. I had to go look on my own website to tell you it's been a hectic week that I just went through. After the Northwest show, I have spent a week on the East Coast, up in the far reaches, up in the land of the moose and the land of the lobster eater, I guess. I was in New England, and I was working, and I was doing roadshow events. And if you followed Coast to Coast Pinball, you'll notice the weeks that I do these road shows, I don't get much time to spend towards the podcast, or even playing pinball for that matter, because it's an event every night at 7 o'clock-ish that goes a couple hours, and then is usually followed up by a dinner with my dealers, or a drive to the next town, or something like that, and I'm out really late, and then I sleep, and I get up and I go back to where I was, and I pick up all these guitars, and it just repeats itself, like usually 4 times. And this trip was actually a 5-event week with my boss with me, so it's just, there was no time to do an episode. And all this stuff happened. I mean, we're going to hit on it, we're going to go into detail in it, but obviously, I did an episode a while back where I kind of tried to guess what game Stern might be rerunning, because I had heard that rumor. And I narrowed it down to Iron Man, and hey, guess what? It's Iron Man. They are rerunning Iron Man. And I got totally thrown off track and was confused because the announcement of the Medieval Madness remake being built in the Stern factory came out, and I thought, oh, well, that just must be what it is. But then somebody sort of whispered just something to me in Seattle and said, no, actually, you might have been right. And I was like, what? Really? So, anyway, please, I've had some really great emails and some nice messages about, like, hoping I'm not burning out, or hoping I'm not, fading away or anything like that. I'm not. I promise you I'm not. We've been through a very busy stretch where I've been traveling a little bit more than normal, on a weirder schedule, and I'm working on this music project with Teresa, and it's taken up a little extra time. I got a lot going on. It'll work itself out. I promise. We're all set. We're all good. So yes, a little bit of housekeeping. I think we're pretty much up to date with almost everybody's t-shirt orders. I had a bunch come in all at once, so I know it took me a little while to get those out. If you have not gotten your t-shirt and you and I aren't currently emailing about it, let me know, because I think everyone should have their shirts, so that's good. If you're still interested in a shirt, you might want to shoot me an email. I'm running out of sizes and need to do another run, all that good stuff. So I spent like 7 nights in hotels, all in different towns. I was sort of all over New England. But the only thing really pinball related was Wednesday night in a town called Littleton, New Hampshire. I stay at a certain hotel in that town, the same place I stay every time. And they have, very timely for this episode, on location in their game room, and you don't see the game rooms in the hotels much anymore, they actually have a pinball machine. And that pinball machine is Iron Man. And I was looking forward to that for a couple weeks, because it's always kept in really nice shape. It doesn't get a lot of play. And it's a game we just don't see everywhere, because, we know the limited run thing. So that's basically the same day I started getting emails that morning going, hey, you were right about Iron Man.
Forum static.
Stern is remaking Iron Man. So if you haven't been listening or paying attention or reading the forums, and I am sadly your only, link to the pinball news, on June 12th, Stern put out a press release that basically said, Stern Pinball Inc., the world's oldest and largest producer of arcade-quality pinball games. I think that's an interesting that they've gone away from the only to the world's oldest and largest producer of arcade-quality pinball games. Announced today it is opening the Stern Vault. So it's a term we've not heard before, the Stern Vault, for re-release of Iron Man Pro. And there really was only one Iron Man, right? There were no limited editions of Iron Man. The Iron Man pinball machine features visuals, speech, music, and sound effects from the Marvel blockbuster films Iron Man and Iron Man 2. After numerous requests from the pinball community, Stern is reintroducing this exceptional game. So, this game was released about 4 years ago. It was not popular. I think it was reviewed, and I probably said all this in the episode where I figured out that this was probably the game they were going to reintroduce, if they were going to reintroduce a game. I think people that didn't play it gave it poor reviews, knocked the layout by just looking at it, which is not really a great way to judge a pinball machine. And people stayed away. It didn't sell well. People said it was like a EM updated, just a fast-playing modern EM layout, because it is sort of a basic layout. Sort of. And it had a short run. And I believe they pulled it off the line to put something else up. And so it just never really got out there. And I don't know the exact run number. I've heard 2,500. I've heard 2,000. It's somewhere in that range, I guess. It only makes sense now that we're seeing this is the rerun from Stern, because these games originally sold in like the mid threes, $3,000, $3,500. I think you buy this game for. Some people bought them on closeout for like $2,800. They're selling for $6,000, $7,000, $8,000 now. Stern's going to price a brand new in box Iron Man game with upgrades that we'll get into in here in just a second for $5,495 as the manufacturer's suggested retail price. And remember, that's the manufacturer suggested retail price, which means that if somebody as a distributor or a reseller would like to sell it for less, they certainly can do so. The manufacturer is just setting a suggested price, which, I think some people will pay that. Some people will, and have already confirmed, are paying less than that. So what does this mean? I think more than just the Iron Man talk on this, the fact that Stern is now willing and I guess we knew they were able, but more so willing to go back to a game, and they've gone back and rerun other games, clearly, but this is the first time, I think, anytime recently. I mean, I guess Lord of the Rings had that special run, but this is kind of a big deal, because I don't think a lot of people thought they would do one of these big licensed themes like this and go back and get the the ability to use the license again. And who knows how many games they actually confirmed. I'll be brutally honest with you, I haven't kept up on the long thread on Pinside that is like Stern is releasing Iron Man, and then all the threads that sort of accompany that. But Gary Stern sent out a letter that I think is real important here that shows you what future Stern Vault releases could look like. He says, our technology and manufacturing processes have changed since we originally built Iron Man. Among the changes to our Pro games in general, and Iron Man Pro Vault Edition in particular, are LEDs on the playfield throughout, including an Ironmonger chest. So right there's a couple $100 built into this game. LED lighting throughout the game. That's awesome. Throughout on the playfield throughout, excuse me. Code Light Show revision to operate the LEDs and better display LED light shows. So they're actually working on the code to make sure the lights integrate into the game properly. Cabinet decals and the Iron Man Vault decals will be printed on brushed aluminum, enhancing the art. So it's just going to be a nicer looking package. New modern metal and wood backbox with red T-molding. So it's the new modern Star Trek-esque backbox kind of, look to the games. Speaker panel decal matching the game art. Higher resolution back glass enabled by new technology, which provides better detail and sharpness. One-piece molded Iron Man, War Machine, and Whiplash action figure toys, which reduce breakage and extend life. Those toys were like multiple pieces, screwed together, and I think some of those pieces broke off. They're going to upgrade to the current design one-piece auto launcher, which increases reliability. And then also, he says, various fixes of code bugs reported to us. So it's not just a complete, rerun the game. There's definitely a little bit of work having to be put into this, which is cool. But they're still, saving money here because they're not having to design a new game, which is kind of a big deal. So I think it's a pretty great thing. I think that this, is obviously somewhat controversial to those who are buying games with the idea of holding and selling for more money than they paid for them. I think Stern probably views that as sort of a bad thing in general for their business. I have seen some people upset about Iron Man being re-released because it hurts the value of their game. I don't think they're going to build so many of these. Maybe that's short-sighted of me. My gut reaction was that they wouldn't build so many of these that it would drastically affect the price. I saw some people saying this is going to be awesome. There's going to be used Iron Mans for $3,500 in a year or so. I don't think so. I actually don't agree with that because you're going to have original ones that I think are going to have some sort of intrinsic value and cachet just because they're original Iron Mans. And then the re-releases I think are going to have their own value because of all the upgrades. And I don't think they're making that many. I'm guessing it's like 1,000 games. And that's a guess. I don't know. But I'm guessing somewhere in the 1,000 games. Many of the distributors that I've checked in with, just to look to kind of get a read on what's going on with it, are sold out. In fact, I don't exactly know where you can buy one right now. So I'm sure there are some out there. I'm sure there are going to be some people who are buying two of them. One to go and one to sell. They want one to play and then one to sell. But what does this mean? What else could be re-released? I think there's going to be opportunities for other games. Say in 2 years, maybe Metallica could be, if it's come off the line and they want to go back to that, make a game and do an upgraded version. Maybe Metallica releases another album and they want to do upgraded art and upgraded songs. You can now go back. And I think it's a kind of cool idea to have the Vault Edition. I think the game on a lot of people's minds is Lord of the Rings. Could we see an updated Lord of the Rings? Could we see Spider-Man put back out? That would be interesting. I don't know if that one's quite as evergreen as Iron Man seems to be with the transition of the first trilogy of, well, I shouldn't say the first, the Tobey Maguire trilogy of Spider-Man movies, which was the theme for the pinball machine, and now we obviously have this newer version of movies that's out. But in general, I think it's a great thing. Stern, first and foremost, needs to build machines. They need to keep people working, building machines. It's a good thing for them as a company. It keeps money coming in. I think this is a no-brainer. Personally, I think it's a great move. I think it's a no-brainer. People are going to buy those games. People have already bought those games. It's sort of, we're really seeing like a lot of games flooding out right now. We're going to test that idea that there's some sort of peak pinball or some maximum capacity, or there's only so much money in the hobby, because we have Medieval Madness coming out. We have people with a bunch of money, going into Medieval Madness. We have popular new Stern games coming out. We have boutique games coming out. So in any case, I think it's an interesting time. I think we'll know more at the end of the year, kind of how things look. I think it's an exciting time myself. So, in any case, I think that's pretty awesome that Stern is going to the vault, as they say. Iron Man is the first vault game, so to speak. I think it's a good idea, and I'd love to kind of hear what everyone thinks might be, what else might come out. I would personally love a Ripley's Believe It or Not re-release with some updates on that. I think that'd be a great one. Could we see Tron come back? I mean, that one was run over and over again. I think there's still people who would buy a new in-box Tron. Could there be some sort of Family Guy Shrek sort of thing? I think Family Guy before Shrek, obviously. That's one that's been talked about a little bit. Simpsons Pinball Party. That's another one. It sells for a lot more than it did when it was new. Very possible. Although, I have to say, I feel like if any of those games it was really demanding, like a top 20 game that was demanding a lot of money maybe 2 years ago, if any of those games has lost a little shine off of it, I think it might be the Simpsons Pinball Party. Keeping on a story that's been pretty big on the Pinside forums and elsewhere around the pinball community, Jersey Jack last week released the full playfield artwork for The Hobbit. They just put the whole thing out there. So now we have schematics and artwork, which when you combine the two together, like the folks over at Pinball News did so artfully, you kind of have an idea what this game's going to look like. There's been some changes. I think the art's pretty different than what I expected. In my head, it was hard for me to get away from Lord of the Rings in my head. I just kept thinking, oh, it's going to look like Lord of the Rings. I like what it looks like, though. It's got Smaug the Dragon over a snow-covered mountain with, little creepy guys around the rollover lanes, and then the other characters in the shots. I don't know all the names of all the characters. I know. Sorry, bad me. Don't totally understand what they're going for with some of the insert stuff, but it looks like there's a bank of drop targets in front of Smaug, so I think those are going to be hit down, and then you're going to be able to shoot up into Smaug, I think, as far as I can tell. If you look at kind of the way things have changed, the layout of the goblin orc guys has moved a little bit, reversed a little bit. But I think it's a very pretty looking set of artwork with lots of like sky that sort of transitions into the darkness up top. I don't know what to say other than it looks really promising. I'm excited to see what this thing's going to look like. I was very impressed by Jack's energy at the show in Seattle. So, that's good stuff. I'm excited to see more of The Hobbit as we get closer to that September kind of testing days, and then games probably in the fourth quarter. So, looking forward to that. If anybody's buying The Hobbit, let me know. I'd love to kind of hear from someone who's got money on it and buying it, and what their thoughts are so far on the artwork, because I'm not in on that one, and I don't really know what to think other than it looks nice. We'll see how it plays. We'll see. I'm really excited to see the integration with the video into the game, because I think Wizard of Oz does an okay job at that. I think Wizard of Oz is beautiful. It has lots going on. It's just cool that there's anything on an LCD on the Wizard of Oz. I'm looking for a step forward in The Hobbit. I think The Hobbit needs to be like the next generation of this sort of technology, and that could really carry forward this idea of having a video in the back box while you play pinball. I think that's a big deal. So definitely looking forward to that. Let me know if you're in on The Hobbit and what you're thinking so far. My schedule has been crazy, like I was talking about earlier, and it's almost unbelievable to me that in just 4 short days, I'm going to be in Atlanta at the Southern Fried Game Room Expo, hosted by Patrick and Preston and the Game Room Junkies. I'm very excited. I have not been to Atlanta much in my life, very short period of time, long ago, so very excited. We are doing a Saturday night podcast thing. I don't totally know what I've gotten myself into. I was invited to take part in this podcasting live. I don't know. I don't even know. See, I'm along for the ride. Preston said, "Hey, do you want to do this?" And I said, "Sure." I don't even know what this is. So I think it's going to be some of us podcast hosts, I think 4 of us maybe. I think it's Broken Token, Game Room Junkies, myself, and here's where I'm just a bad person. I don't know who the other podcast is, because I think they are arcade related, and I'm kind of dumb when it comes to the whole arcade world. So I do know this. Give you a quick rundown of the Southern Fried Game Room Expo. Barry Ausler, I say his name wrong all the time, and John Trudeau from the pinball design world will both be there. That's awesome. There's a bunch of famous arcade people, including Billy Mitchell. I actually know who Billy Mitchell is because I saw The King of Kong, which was a very cool documentary. As far as the rest of the video game people, I don't know who they are. Pac-Man's going to be there. I know who he is. Sort of frightening. And then, arcade repair tips. See, that's who it is. I had notes. So the arcade repair tips. Jonathan Lang So I'm very excited to take part in whatever craziness Saturday night, late Saturday night, I think it's going to be super late actually, is going to bring us. I will have photos on the Facebook feed, maybe Twitter if I can get myself straightened on that. I will do a show from the show, probably Friday night, giving you kind of a lowdown on what I see, and then I don't even know what to expect Saturday night with everyone. So it'll be cool to meet Patrick and Preston in person. Really looking forward to that. That show snuck up on me. It seems like just the other day I was thinking, wow, next summer Atlanta, Southern Fried Game Room Expo. So it's here. It's here. Very excited. It sounds like they have a nice set of games coming. Hopefully people turn out with their games. So if you're in the South, if you're in the Atlanta area and you're going to come on up to the show, let me know. I know some listeners of the podcast are going to be there. I have not done a good job at keeping track of who's coming. Please let me know if you're going to there. Say hello, and maybe we can play a little pinball. And definitely looking forward to the Southern Fried Game Room Expo.
Check the email.
All right, we're going to check a little email, especially this email I got the other day because it's sort of newsworthy too. So got an email from a guy named Corey. Corey wrote me and said, in big bold letters, the subject to this, by the way, is KISS, KISS. And Corey said, I would love to hear your thoughts on Stern snaking the license to a new KISS pinball machine out from under John Papaduke. Well, Corey, it's a weird thing because John designed his KISS prototype game. And if you don't know what I'm talking about here, faithful listener, at the Midwest Gaming Classic, John Papaduke brought this beautiful foam board prototype KISS pinball machine with him. And it was sort of, I think he built it mainly. He had a friend who was, I believe, terminally ill. And if I get the details wrong on this, I apologize. But he had a friend who was dying, basically, and who was really, really into KISS. And I think John sort of did it as a tribute or something really fun for his friend. Like, hey, check out this KISS pinball machine idea I have. The artwork was beautiful. Some of the design elements were very unique. And he had, like, truss lighting down the sides, sort of to simulate a concert look. But it's kind of a cool way to light up a pinball machine, quite honestly. He had MagnaSave on there. It was neat looking. You know, not a finished product. Couldn't play it. It was just foam board. But it was beautiful. And you had the Stern guys actually there taking photos of it. And he knew that. John knew that. And John did not have a license to build a KISS machine. And he was interested in getting one. But John doesn't have Roger Sharp working for him or doesn't have a, licensee office, where he can call up and say, hey, we'd like to build KISS pinball. Please contact Gene Simmons. John doesn't have that. John has a very small, I think, inner circle of people he works with to do his games. John's doing small runs of games. I asked him flat out. We were talking about another idea, something that I won't disclose. But and I was telling him I thought this would be a great theme for a game, and you should do this. And I said, how many games do you need to build, to make it kind of worth your while? And the number he said was really low. It was a small number. More than one, less than 500. So there was. That's not what he said, but I'm just telling you the numbers somewhere in between there. And I said, yeah, you'll sell those. Do this game that we're talking about with your art mind and your design. I was actually kind of inferring to use some of the KISS design. And with this theme and the buzz that it would create, you will sell at least that minimum number that you just listed. So I don't know if he was sold on that or not. Certainly John can decide to do whatever he wants. But the point is, Stern's a big company. And by big, they're not huge. But in the pinball world, they're big. And they saw the buzz around that KISS machine, and they jumped on it. They went for it. So that begs me to ask the question out loud. Maybe we shouldn't have brought it. Maybe not we, but maybe John shouldn't have brought that to the Midwest Gaming Classic. I heard him say that. He even said that. Like, yeah, maybe I shouldn't have brought it. But he was trying to bring something fun. He wants to go meet people at the shows and show people what he's working on. And he did. And so be it. Stern has apparently, it's all but confirmed by everybody on the internet. Everyone seems to know, and I've confirmed it elsewhere. But obviously there's no game, so who really knows if they're going to build a machine. But Stern has acquired the license to build a KISS pinball machine. And how do I feel about that? I mean, if I'm Stern and I have a certain amount of employees, it is my job to make sure we are selling games, new games every day. I need to sell games so that we can pay the paychecks of these people that we employ. That's kind of business, right? Put a good out there, take money in, distribute the money, and hopefully the company makes a profit too. And if there's a theme out there that somebody has prototyped and it's a theme that I think I can sell and I have it available to me, why wouldn't I get it? So it's sort of one of those unfortunate little quirky things. Now, to me, in my perfect little simple utopian, I wish we could all get along world, if I'm Stern, I hire John to do the game. I mean, maybe he's not hired in as like a full-time designer. I don't know if John wants to be a full-time designer, but maybe Stern, hires John to do this one game. Give it a go. Jersey Jack went out and got Pat Lawler. We thought Pat Lawler didn't want to build pinball anymore. He seems all excited about it. John Papaduke is very excited about pinball. He loves pinball. He's going to shows. He was in Wisconsin. He was in Seattle. He and I have emailed a few little things since then. He's a great dude. He's really into it. And I think if Stern approached John and said, hey, we know you have a design sort of ready to go. Why don't you bring it in? Why don't we take a look at it? I think John would be into that. That's just my gut personal feeling. So I think Stern should look at that. I think the community would eat it up. I think you would, not that they won't buy a KISS pinball game designed by John Trudeau or designed by Borg or Ritchie, but I think doing a Papaduke game, if you did one Papaduke game every 3 or 4 years, I just think you'd have something very special, a different take, and you'd have sales. Stern doesn't seem real quick to want to release what the next game is. The next John Borg designed game. I know that John's game's coming out. I know he's very excited about it. I think I know the theme. It's one of those, again, where it's like, I've been told what it is. I could tell you what it is. And if I'm right, hey, Nate knew. And everyone will be like, yeah, everyone knew. If I'm wrong, I just like an idiot. So I'm not going to... It's a theme that's been discussed by many, many people. If that's what it is, it's what it is. So I'll cryptically say, I think we know what's headed our way. And I think it'll do well. I think it's going to cause some ripples with some other games, maybe. Just some more discussion more than anything. But it's interesting. And the timing, I think, is not the greatest for some other folks. So I guess, I don't know, Corey, if I answer your question, what do I think about it? I think that it's business. For us and me and you, it's a hobby. It's something we love. For Stern and for John Papaduke, it's business. It's their livelihood. So it gets a little different there. But yeah, interesting stuff. All right, one more email here. This is from Terry. Oh yeah, Terry writes me very simply: are they gonna remake Big Bang Bar or what? Well, Terry, here's what I know. I know that Rick Bartlett from Planetary Pinball Supply has quickly become one of the most, I don't know if powerful is the right word, but one of the most certainly influential and important people in pinball. Just, last week when all this news was happening while I was on the road, Planetary Pinball bought out the assets of the Gene Cunningham Illinois Pinball bankruptcy. So they got a lot more stuff, even on top of what they already had. Now, I don't know all the details of Big Bang Bar specifically and how that all went down with Capcom. I will tell you this. There's a lot of Big Bang Bars for sale recently. And I don't know what that means. I'm just saying. It makes me wonder. If you go to eBay right now on I don't even know, Monday night, whatever, Monday, June 15th, 16th, June 16th, and you type Big Bang Bar Pinball, and you sort it highest to lowest, you'll get the expensive games. There's 2 for sale right now. One's $29,499, and then the other one, and that's by TNT Amusements, by the way. And then the other one is a relative bargain, a deal at just $19,999. If you go back and look at completed auctions, none of these games have sold on eBay. There's some toys and stuff and collectibles. So there's been a few. It's been talked about on Pinside. I'll be very interested to see what the next Planetary Pinball Supply game made is. I think they would be so silly to announce that before Medieval Madness Remake is shipping. Got to get that thing out. You must get that game out first, because you could absolutely cost yourself some sales if, say, you do decide that Cactus Canyon is going to be the next one built, and somebody's like on the fence about Medieval Madness. They may cancel or back out or get out or whatever. So I don't know. I guess I think Big Bang Bar will get remade. I need to do some more reading. If you're reading the forums, probably more tuned in than I am right at the moment. I will tell you this. I think they would sell quite a few. If they can remake it, I think they will remake it, because I think they can sell them. I think they can sell them at the $8K price range. I believe we'll see Cactus Canyon and probably some version with continued software come out. That's what I think. That's a game that nearly nobody has. Like Big Bang Bar, but I think it's a game that I know they already have the rights to build. It's an original theme game, like Big Bang Bar, but it just, there's not that hurdle also. And I think that I have a feeling it's going to be another Bally Williams title before a Capcom game. That's just my gut feeling. I did play a Cactus Canyon continued at the Northwest show. It was awesome. It was actually the best one I've ever played. It had great LED lighting, played really fast, played really smooth. I like that game. I'm a fan of that game. I think it's cool. It's neat. Would I rather own Cactus Canyon than, say, I don't know, Star Trek Limited or Metallica, Premium or something? I don't know. Maybe not. It'll be interesting to see. So I think, though, the fact that Planetary Pinball Supply has all these parts and all these assets, it's a good thing for pinball. Planetary Pinball Supply is definitely organized enough and a big enough company to get this stuff out there. It's better that they have it than somebody just like sitting on it somewhere and just hoarding it. That's not good. So we shall see. That'll be a great one to monitor. That's going to be an ongoing discussion for us here on Coast to Coast Pinball over the next probably years, I would imagine.
Random number generator game reviews.
Oh, you missed it. Random number generator game review? It's awesome. We need to talk about a pinball machine on this show, right? I am working, and I'll tell you, it's part of the reason we didn't get an episode out in the last few days. One of my many excuses for why I don't have an episode out. I'm working on the next version of And the Year Was. We're going to do that soon, but those episodes take some research and take some time. But for now, we're going to randomly pick a number using random.org's random number generator. And then we're going to go to the Pinside top, not 100, not 200. It is currently a Pinside top 300. There are 300 games that have been reviewed enough times to rate on the Pinside top 100. So it's 300 games. So we're going to put 1 in the minimum number. We're going to put 300 in the max number. We're going to hit generate, and we're going to review whatever game this number corresponds to. And we go generate 67. So I got to go back to page 1 of the top 100. Game number 67 is Batman Forever. That's interesting that it's Batman Forever. So I just played Batman Forever at the Northwest Pinball and Arcade show. It is a Sega game. It has the large display. It has some of the coolest ramps ever put on a pinball machine. I shouldn't say ramps. It has some interesting ramps. It has some of the coolest wire forms ever put on a pinball machine. It's a wide body game. People guessed this might have been the game I was buying before I bought Tales from the Crypt. I had a couple people guess this as the game. So Batman Forever, is an interesting one because there's a lot to it, a lot of shots, a lot of toys. I got to find a picture of Batman Forever because I really do these randomly. I don't set this up ahead of time. I like Batman Forever. It has a giant green and black question mark like for the Riddler and Batman logo on the playfield. There's a cool two-way ramp on this game that I really like. I'm trying to think of the fun things. So there's a Batwing on the left side, and there's these like Bat Cave plastic molds above some of the wire form. It's where you can like lock the ball. It's pretty cool. Has a gun trigger type of thing. It's being a wide body, there's a lot of space to shoot this game on. This game needs to be set up kind of correctly, or some of the shots become very, very difficult. 3 flipper game, 2 flippers in the lower level, and then there's an upper right flipper, kind of like in the Twilight Zone upper right flipper area. I always think of this game as one of the games where the scoring got sort of ridiculous. When we started not doing just millions, but it had to be tens and hundreds of millions. So that's definitely something that I think about on this. This game was designed by the Sega team at the time. I believe it was Kamikow, and I'm just verifying this so I don't sound like an idiot. Paul Leslie and Joe Kamikow. Another kind of unique thing about this game is those green wire forms that I was referencing. They actually come all the way down above the apron of the game. So you'll have that ball screaming around, and you feel like it's going to come to an inlane to the flipper. That's what every other pinball machine does, right? The ball comes down the wire form and then drops down by your flipper. Well, this actually doesn't do that. It comes down over by the instruction cards and then loops below the flippers and then back up to the inlane on the other side. It's really bizarre and sort of different. It's pretty cool. I think if I remember correctly, the side art of this game is actually really cool. Side art is often overlooked because we don't see the cabinet art a lot of times. This game has this crazy Batmobile design with I guess it's the Batcave in the background. It's just not really what you expect. I would encourage you, if you don't know what I'm talking about, to go to ipdb.org and find this game and then look at the side art of this game. It's just not what you think it's going to be. Sega games, kickback on Sega games never worked right. Those are often problems to look for on a Sega game. I'm trying to think what else. I think there's some good rules to this game. I don't believe it's terribly deep. The dots are pretty good. This game just doesn't look like a lot of other games. Part of it's the neon green wire forms and the big question mark. It has that weird Sega mid-90s art thing going on. There's the Riddler, the Jim Carrey Riddler characters jumping off of it. It's not a bad game. I've never liked the back glass because you've got Batman and Robin, Chris O'Donnell as Robin on it with everyone kind of popping out. Never loved that. But it's definitely one of those games that, I would own this game if I was trying to have a Sega game. I've seen these sell for pretty affordably, even here in Southern California. I've seen them sell in the low $2s, I want to say recently, maybe even below that. Looking at bostonpinball.biz, where they track all the eBay sales, the average selling price for Batman Forever all time is $17.44, but if you look at the 9 that have sold in the last year, it's $25.63. That's a wide body game with quite a bit going on, with a theme that I think still, it's still Batman. People like the Batman theme. Goes into a lot of game rooms. People probably like that. So if you're looking for a wide body game and you don't want to get one of the expensive Williams, or you don't want Judge Dredd, so here's really, I'll give you my best review I can on Batman Forever. If I had to have either Batman Forever or Judge Dredd, I'll take Batman Forever. Just saying. So that's what I got on that. All right, that's it. That's all. That's episode 89. Go listen to the Game Room Junkies, Spooky Pinball, the Pinball Podcast. Should have another show any day now. Go check those guys out. Listen to the Pinheads podcast out of Australia if you haven't listened to those guys. I'll try and get more shows out. I promise. I'm going to try. And this is going to be a great weekend at the Southern Fried Game Room Expo. Looking forward to bringing you my take on that show, which looks to be a ton of fun. I am putting LEDs in my Tales from the Crypt. That is happening right now. So I'm going to be working on that over the next few days. And then I should be getting America's Most Haunted soon. I was very excited to see on Facebook today a photo of the Spooky Pinball production facilities with a giant stack of cardboard pinball machine boxes. Can't hardly wait. So, good times. I will talk to you again soon. If you'd like to email me directly, you can always email me, coast2coastpinball@gmail.com. It's coast, the number 2, coastpinball@gmail.com. Our website is www.coast2coastpinball.com. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, and I appreciate you guys listening. Thanks for all the enthusiasm. I'll talk to you again soon. Take care.